This is Kelso Surgeon. Thank you very much for tuning in for another video session at my College of Advanced Sports Handicapping. I apologize for having been inactive on the video for the past several days. Had some family issues that I needed to take care of, but I'm back to resume here, and hopefully we'll have 3 or 4 videos every single week, even right through baseball season. Obviously, the subject at hand today is the Final Four, which will be played on Saturday at the Superdome in New Orleans. We'll get to the details of that in just a moment. But let me do say one of the 2 games on Saturday, Louisville versus Kentucky and Ohio State versus Kansas, will be a 100-unit play. On Monday night, when the games are played for the championship, I also will be releasing a 100-unit play. Now, the one thing you need to understand about the Final Four, each of these 4 teams, Louisville, Kentucky, Ohio State, and Kansas, are traditional powers, and there's no surprise that they're here. The only remaining number 1 seed is Kentucky. The number 2 seeds, Ohio State and Kansas, meet in the second game. Louisville is the number 4 seed. The one thing you've got to understand, any of these teams, any one of the 4 can win the national championship. They're 2 games away from that, and forget the betting lines for a moment, and when you analyze these games, you know, pick the winner and convince yourself you have the winner. Can Kentucky beat Louisville? Probably so. Can Ohio State beat Kansas? Well, maybe. But keep in mind, these teams have played during the regular season. Louisville played in Kentucky in December. Kentucky won, I think, by 6 points as a 10-point favorite. So Louisville has played Kentucky one time and actually played them extremely well. As for Ohio State and Kansas, Ohio State went to Kansas in December and also got beat by about 10 points. So these teams do have a history. It's difficult to put a lot of weight or emphasis on just one game between the each of the 2 teams, but it's significant what happened, and it's one aspect of handicapping the game that you need to look at. Now, Kentucky's 1-5 to win it all, and you know, as if you've been reading my website the past few days, you know, I pointed out that, and I mean it, Kentucky sold its soul to the devil to win a national championship, and is 1-5 to do that. Now, be sure and watch the 5 guys on the court for Kentucky this week, because they'll all be in the NBA next season, because Kentucky is no longer a legitimate college basketball team. It is an NBA prep team. I find it very offensive, and if you think I'm taking it personally, I am. It goes back to my time in living in Lexington and being involved in Kentucky athletics, knowing the Baron of the Bluegrass, Adolph Rupp, quite well, and you know, he's got to be turning over in his grave as to what's happening today. And I realize at many schools that kids leave early for the NBA, but Kentucky recruits the kids to leave early for the NBA. Coach John Calipari tells them, come to Kentucky, forget about being a student, you'll spend a year here with me, and I'll teach you all the elements of NBA basketball. I feel kind of dirty just talking about it. So in the Final Four, we have 3 college teams and 1 professional team, Kentucky. And once again, I am quite offended by it. I understand why they're the 1-5 favorite to win it all, but keep in mind, anything can happen. Now, Kentucky is an 8.5-point favorite over Louisville. Ohio State's a 2.5-point favorite over Kansas. As I said, the games will be played, the Final Four on Saturday evening in the Superdome in New Orleans, the championship game Monday night in the same spot. All the games televised on CBS. Now, I put together a nice package for this, for the Final Four and the championship game, where I'll be releasing the 100-unit play on Saturday, plus a unit-rated play on the other game. I'll also be releasing both totals on Monday night. It'll be a 100-unit play on the game, and I'll also release a unit-rated play on the totals. Now, you can get the Final Four championship weekend in a package for just $75, or you can play by the day for $50 each day. It's your call, and that's available on this website and toll free at 1-800-755-2255. And all major credit cards are accepted. Let's speak a bit about the NBA, because that's where our focus is going to be very shortly. We've had a decent NBA season, been in a little bit of a slump lately. Can't quite figure that out. Had Orlando over the Knicks last night. The Knicks were shorthanded. They had to play everybody but the cheerleaders, and they still beat Orlando. Maybe I'll have to treat Orlando pretty much like I did Loyola Loyola Marymount during the regular season. If I use them, they beat me. If I went against them, they beat me. So I may just duck Orlando the rest of the way, although I hate to say never. Now, the Miami Heat remain the 6-5 favorites to win the NBA championship, followed by the Chicago Bulls at 7-2, the Oklahoma City Thunder at 4-1, and the Los Angeles Lakers at 8-1. Everybody else is in double digits. Already eliminated from competition are Charlotte, Washington, and New Orleans. If you're a man who hates his money, you can still get 9,999 to 1 odds on a couple of teams. Read the story on the website and you'll see who they are. I don't have much. I really don't have much faith in 9,999 to 1 shots, but maybe you're an adventurous individual. Now, you know, sometimes we make handicapping the NBA more difficult than it is. Sometimes you can look at the raw numbers, the raw figures, and it'll tell you a story. You know, for instance, do you realize that the San Antonio Spurs, they're 34-14 on the season, have the second best record in the West. They've gone 30-18-1 against the number, and that means that if you had bet on every game they played, you've collected 62.4% of the time. And keep in mind, anybody who can hit the 60% level in handicapping anything can end up owning Rhode Island and half of Texas. That's just how powerful the 60% number is. Now, you know, right behind them are the Chicago Bulls, 41-11. They're 31-21 against the number. It means they've covered 59.6% of the time. So two of the most popular teams, two of the teams that you think would be public, just keep covering the number. The San Antonio Spurs and the Chicago Bulls. Keep that in mind. Also, there's, you know, you don't have to bet NBA games straight. You can also bet totals. And we have some standout players here. You know, the New York Knicks and the Phoenix Suns have seen their games go under 62.7% of the time this season. Right behind them is Philadelphia, whose games have gone under 60% of the time. So sometimes these numbers do lead us where we need to go. And by the way, the Milwaukee Bucks are even a better bet if you want to bet them to go over. They've gone over 65.3% of the time. The numbers tell us something. You need to be aware of them. You need to watch them. You need to follow them because they're very much as important as any element of NBA handicapping. Keep in mind also that I release NBA games every day. My Best Bets Club gets an average of 2 games each day and is winning. My Chairman's Club gets 25-unit play, probably 3 or 4 days a week. And I release to my Personal Bets Club a 50-unit play, probably 3 times a week. And these games are available on a daily basis, or you can sign up for any one of these services for the season, once again, on this website and toll free at 1-800-755-2255. All major credit cards accepted. Now let's get to the baseball season, which actually kicks off this coming Wednesday when the Miami Marlins host the world champion St. Louis Cardinals. Now, there have been 2 games played already, both of them in Japan. I ducked both of them. Japan is 14 hours from where I live in Las Vegas. Had no intention of getting involved in games played several time zones away in 14 hours. You can't keep up with what's happening. You have no idea. You almost have no idea how these teams are going to take the games. But suffice it to say that in the 2 games played in Tokyo, Oakland and Seattle split 1-1. But the real season starts on Wednesday night, followed up with, I think, 8 games on Thursday, 9 games on Friday, and then the weekend, it's full speed ahead. I had a tremendous baseball season last year. I mean, there were 10, 12, 13 game streaks, one right after the other. And we hit parlays, we hit totals. I really handicap baseball with tremendous focus and intensity. It is the easiest sport for any bettor to beat, because in a baseball game, all you have to do is pick the winner. You don't have to pick points. You don't have to give points. You don't have to take points. You lay odds. I try not to give out any game that's higher than a -150. Occasionally I might lay a -160 if the right situation is there. But win the game, you win the bet, and that makes baseball wonderful. Also make it the biggest single sporting bet for the biggest sports bettors in the business. The big boys dance with baseball, and they love it, and they can't wait to get started. Once again, for one reason, they know they only have to win the game, period. And they also know that in baseball that there are less ways to lose than there are in basketball and football. So it's ideal for bettors. You can get the entire baseball season for just $199. You get 2 or 3 plays every single day, 7 days a week, depending on the schedule. You'll get a 25-unit game of the week in that package, plus a 50-unit game of the month. You can get the entire baseball season again for just $199 charged to your major credit card. Play for the entire season. Now, right now, the Detroit Tigers and the Philadelphia Phillies are co-6-to-1 favorites to win the World Series. Detroit's had a great spring. Philadelphia's got a pitching staff that's as good as most that have ever been on any team in the last maybe 30 or 40 years in Major League Baseball. It's going to be a great baseball season. Don't miss it. Let me just close by getting back to the NCAA for just a second. You know, I really worked hard on the Final Four, and you're going to get my best shot, and that's why I'm confident with both a 100-unit play on Saturday and a 100-unit play on Monday. I intend to get the money. Don't forget, these games are in a package. You can get the whole package for $75 or play by the day for just $50. Once again, I thank you very much for watching, and just remember that all selections are available on this site and toll-free at 1-800-755-2255, and I do take all major credit cards. Good luck. Let's go get the